We're asking to show us what they have done with the money, and many of their communicators do that on platforms. They mention free settlements.
A huge chunk of that.
I think a good way to look at that is that revenues have increased, but expenditure have also increased.
Exactly, and the expenditure is consumption.
So I'm coming. So
do you understand?
So it's not entirely complete to only criticize on the size of the fact we've received more revenue.
Yeah.
Our legitimate expenditures have also
gone
increased. But you see, in all these things, we have talked about the fact that we listened to the NPP when they were in opposition. That was how I started.
Yeah, that's why I said.
We also listened to the NDC.
And you actually said you are disappointed because some of the things they said they haven't been able to.
And we also listened to the NDC when they were in government. Yeah. The defense they offered is as though the marking scheme sits somewhere. If you are in opposition, you go and pick it.
Yeah.
If you are in government, you go and what?
No,
I'm coming.
Prof, you can. I beg you, because it's within my time. I just can say that. It is not about the marking scheme sitting somewhere and we running after it. At least you can consider what the NDC now is doing as seeking vindication. We are seeking vindication. We are forcing the government to admit some of the truths that they reject.
So could you some things that Bawumia said in opposition, and this is one of his lectures, quote, and it's on my journal line, and just to be very specific. This was in 19th November 2014. He said, and this is on the question of the debt. He says, NDC inherited a public debt stock of 9.5 billion cedis in 2009. Then it goes on. Today, Ghana's debt has gone up to 65.7 billion cedis. So when I say when I say the stakes are high, I'm talking about the destiny of our country, Ghana, the future of the youth. Then he goes on to conclude, the NDC has been taxing everything, including condoms and cutlasses. In terms of resources, this NDC government has had more resources than any other government. We did not have oil, yet Ghanaians know what we did with the limited resources we had. We spent money responsibly to create the NHS, introduce capitation grant, expand access to education. We spent wisely on infrastructure and built more roads than any other government. And so that is him arguing that, the NDC were borrowing and not showing any results, and they were borrowing unsustainably and jeopardizing our future.
Have you checked
so they have a point, don't they?
They have a point within context. But have you checked what the NDC were saying when they were in opposition before 2008 elections? Have you checked that one too?
No.
Where are we starting from when NDC was in government prior to 2016, and what Bawumia and the opposition were saying? Check what running mate John Mahama said relative to the issues we are discussing. In fact, he brought to the fore and made the point that Kufuor's administration for 8 years had borrowed 50%, according to him, of the 10.4 billion that Ghana had inherited as debt from independence. It turned out to be false, though. When the checks were made properly, it was false, and I have the publications here. But that is when this whole thing came to the fore in terms of the Fourth Republic. Admittedly, if you read the Hansard, the issue of debate over debt is not new. Rawlings suffered examples of it. Indeed, yes, but that is why I said put in context. Indeed, one of the reasons for the overthrow of the Lima administration, and it's in Rawlings' speech, was that he was increasing Ghana's debt, running around the world and borrowing by heart. Even Nkrumah suffered it. By the time of the 16th coup, Ankra's first speech, one of the reasons given for the coup was the debt profile of Ghana.
Prof has been saying that just before
it's true. So we have been playing this game relative to the debt for a long time. So please, nobody should come and restrict it to Bawumia prior to 2016 election campaign. If you want to be factual and constructive and honest and sincere, let's look at it in the global context, and there we will see the wisdom Prof was pushing to the fore about depoliticizing, demystification, and indeed I will add depersonalization.
But Setekbe also pushed that.
He did, because he is an economist. He is a professional.
Yes.
And in fact, I was happy he debunked the other fallacy about Nkrumah inherited so much money and that it was wasted. That debt reserves we talk about were internally generated. Indeed, J.H. Mason had a very nice publication. The British government owed Ghana at one stage He owed this country. So if we are going to be fair and honest, let's look at it in a global sense. And then when we start doing that, we will be able to deal with the issues one by one. Look, it's a legitimate concern, an issue to raise, that you borrowed this much money. What have you spent it on? Expended it on? I have no problems with it. And it will be required of a government or an administration to itemize, tell you the things they've done with it. I hear my NDC friends cite Rich Hospital, Legon University, Kwame Nkrumah interchange, Kaswa interchange. Put all those things together, it's about 4 billion or 5. The flagship projects.
Yeah.
How much had they borrowed? Prof, if you can give me about 20 something.
Yeah.
Take the 4 out of the 27. Where is the rest of the money? Same question being asked.
But the quantums differ.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, no, I'm talking percentage. It doesn't matter. I wasn't contesting the two figures. I am saying that what the flagship projects you put out, because you are asking MPP, show us. And you are talking about, you want infrastructure. You are not talking consumption. That's what you are saying. I'm saying that even within the context of the monies you borrowed, those flagship projects that you point to, if you put all together, there's still a lot more money out there. Where is it? I'm not saying anybody has chopped it. Indeed, I don't think anybody has chopped that money. It's a propagandist interpretation, which they do on the political platform at rallies. It's easy to do those things. You play on the keyboards of people's emotions. All of them do it. And as I'm saying, it's been done since 1966. In fact, before, but it got pronounced post 66. And we've used it against each administration anytime just for political propaganda, capital purposes. That's what we've been doing. When I walked into the studio here, I told you that some of us ought not to be here discussing this matter, that you should bring the experts. And I meant it. Yeah. Because if you have to interrogate this thing properly, seriously, in the national interest, it's not people like us you bring here, minus Prof. And excuse me, I added you. But that's a fact.
Yeah.
No, so to be honest, be honest with you. Let's let the experts take time and interrogate these issues. Not necessarily the issue of quantum of how much you've borrowed and things, but how have we applied it?
Money.
And going forward, how we can minimize borrowing.
Unsustainable borrowing.
I would end up saying that I never heard Baumia say we will never borrow. And I insist on that.
You are not on Twitter, maybe that's why.
No, but that's not exactly what he said. You've admitted it's your interpretation of what he said.
Yes,
that's the tweet. You want me to read the tweet again? He said we will not borrow. You want me to read the tweet again?
Please read it.
Yes, it says the MPP if voted will harness resources in Ghana to develop Ghana. I'm telling you, we can develop Ghana without borrowing.
Yeah, they said we can develop Ghana without borrowing.
Yeah.
So your interpretation is that he says we'll never borrow.
I have not. There's no Ghanaian leader. There is no Ghanaian leader that I haven't heard say that the emphasis should be on internal mobilization, a vision that Ghana beyond aid. The vision. It doesn't mean you are not going to borrow. It doesn't mean we are not going to have support from aid. What it means is that we are looking at a situation where we increasingly mobilize more resources internally as opposed to externally. But really, nobody is suggesting for a moment that you will never ever borrow. I didn't hear Baumia say that.
But if it's true,
if you say it's an interpretation, you are entitled.
No, but if it's true that what he's reading, and I must say, I didn't see the tweet.
It's not Chinese.
So I can independently confirm it. But if it's true that Baumia said we will develop without borrowing, then that raises.
It's a bit of extreme.
Yeah.
In the face of what
if indeed
it has never happened in our
if
history.
indeed he sent a tweet like that.
That is why Pepe was saying that this was historical.
First of all, I see a lot. Well, I'm not. It's true. I don't know about these tweets and things. That's a fact. I have to be honest with you. I'm a BBC, you know. Yes. So I don't know about it. Yeah. But to be honest with you, it would have been a huge surprise if Baumia indeed meant that Ghana would develop without borrowing. I have my doubts. this tweet at this stage, I think, is of doubtful validity.
Oh goodness.
Okay.
Oh
But
goodness.
I wanted to make a quick point.
Brief, yeah, come on,
I'm not one for
a
throwing.
minute each.
I'm not one for throwing appointments at problems. But there must be some wisdom in why, since 1927, Canada has had a Minister of National Revenue
Okay.
on cabinet. They have a finance minister, but they have a Minister of National Revenue. I know we have a kind of structure where one of the deputy ministers is in charge of revenue issues. Maybe for somebody who has direct access to the president, accounting to the president literally on a monthly basis on what we are doing in respect of collecting taxes. Without collecting the taxes, Evans, a decade from today, our children will be on this program
talking about
the same thing,
Yeah.
and we would have failed.
Yeah.
We need to put that issue on a higher national pedestal. We have to accept as a people that we have to pay our way.
Prof, and just the Vice President's office says that the Twitter account is fake.
Oh goodness.
And does not belong to the VIP. He says he never made any such statement. So that is the position from the office of the Vice President.
Is that dishonesty at that level?
But that's a position. I'm
It
just
is
reading.
subject to verification.
They said the said Twitter. I'm just reading. The said Twitter account is fake and does not belong to the VIP. We never made any such statement. That's from the Vice President's office on a question of whether he said they would develop Ghana without borrowing. Okay.